Alright, so Sip with the Dead. Alright. So this is the topic at hand today. Let me make sure I have it so that everybody could hear it properly. Today, the topic is sex. And it's not in the aspect that everybody's probably thinking of. It's more so how we are introduced to sex at a very young age. And it's through the means of our peers and media. Media meaning computer, DVDs. I know I said DVDs like my old ass. VH1s, VHSs, I mean. I'm showing my age. And a lot of the times, these things are introduced to us at a very young age, but there's no parental guidance. A lot of the times, I remember when I was young, and what I would do is I'm leaking my secrets. I would go and sneak into my mom's room, my mother and father's room, and they had a hot box. And if you know what a hot box is, it was a little device that was connected to the cable box. And what it would do is it would give you free good stuff, free cable, free everything, if you know what I mean. And I would sit there and watch it, and I'll be like, yeah, this is cool, da 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 da. But I never took the time out to go to my mother or my father and really ask them about what I'm doing, what I'm watching. I was more, I need to figure this out for myself. And when it came to me getting the information that I needed or I felt that I wanted, what I would do is I would go to my friends, and a bunch of teenage boys talking about sex like they know what the hell they're talking about. Never happens. It's always nonsense whenever, we would talk or things were discussed about that particular subject. And then the confusion. A lot of the times we were told, sex is this way, this is how it's supposed to be, this is what a woman's supposed to do, this is what a man's supposed to do, and you're just like, okay, if that's how it goes, that's how it goes. And then when you finally get to that age, you're just like, but this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This is different. This is whatever. And you're trying to navigate through this particular terrain, and you're just like, wait, how do I do it? You could, of course, talk to your significant other, but when you're at the age of, let's say, 12, and you're trying to figure out exactly how to do the do, it's just like, but you could easily say as an adult, oh, you're too young, when in fact I found out that a lot of teenagers or pre-teenagers are having sex before or right on the cusp of 12 years old. I'm finding out that, well, I'm not just recently, but, prior to this, I'm finding out that, there are a lot of young women who are introduced to sex in the most non-consensual types of ways. They're usually taken advantage of. And when they're usually taken advantage of, it's usually by a family member. men too, or young boys too, at the age of pre adolescence. They have a tendency of being caught or being introduced to shit that they're not supposed to be, and it's usually by a family member that they meet these or become interested in these types of things. And so you probably are saying to yourself, well, what can I do? I have a kid. My kid's at that age. And the thing about it too, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of the times when it comes to sex and when it comes to one figuring out oneself, a lot of the times we don't even do it intentionally. As a baby, we're grabbing our feet. We figure out what our foot is. We figure out what our hand is. We'll start shoving our hands down our throats. And it's not anything particular. It's just you figuring out who you are. And between the ages of 2 to 3, maybe even 4, that is when you start discovering what exactly you are. Are you a boy, a man, a young man? Are you a girl? Whatever the case may be, however you want to put it. I'm not putting labels out there because everybody's entitled to raise their children how they particularly feel. Just making sure that that's out in the open. But that's when a child figures out between the ages of 2, 3, 4. Now 5 and 6, that's when they start questioning. As you know, kids question every single thing. They might even question when they're about 3, 4. Hey, mommy, daddy, where babies come from? And one of the first things that we say is, hey, they come from the stork. They come from, and then you start, coming up with different things to try and explain, because a lot of the times we as parents, I'm not a parent, but we as parents feel, I guess the word would be, embarrassed at the aspect of our child coming to us and asking us, hey, where does babies come from? What is sex? I remember like a year or 2, maybe 3, prior to COVID. My nephew, I was taking my nephew home. And when I was taking my nephew home, my nephew came up to me and he said, Uncle Travis, what's sex? And my wife was in the car with me at the time, and I was just like, it's not this is not an appropriate conversation. It's something for your mother and your father to talk to you about. And he dropped the subject, and when he dropped the subject, he went to his mother and father later on that day, or they met up with him. And I sat down with my sister and I told her exactly what was going on. And my sister took it upon herself. I'm not exactly sure how she and my brother-in-law did it, but they handled their business when it came to that. But my nephew did come to me and he did ask me, and I wasn't able to give him a proper answer because I felt that it wasn't my place, to tell him what he needs to know. And it's just like, what do you do at this point? Do you, if it's your own children, of course you're gonna tell them what it is from what it's not, hopefully, God's willing. But if you don't tell them exactly what it is, what tends to happen is, if you can't find your information one place, you're gonna go somewhere else. And you going somewhere else, you might end up getting information, like I was saying before, that makes absolutely no sense. And then you're just like, but what am I supposed to do then? Am I supposed to go for what they're saying at face value? Take what my parents are saying for face value? Or should I just let things go? And as a kid, you're faced with a lot of questions, a lot of problems, a lot of things that, and everything's coming at you one time. Here, there, here, there, and then you're just like, but what am I supposed to do? You know, and then it's just like, well, I guess you just take it one day at a time. But we as parents, we gotta do better. You know, we gotta do better for our children. We gotta be able to sit down and address the issue. We need to be able to let our children feel comfortable bringing these types of problems to us, because a lot of the times they want to talk to us. You know, and I'm not even thinking with my adult brain, I'm thinking with my child brain. There are times where I wish I was to be able to go and say, hey, you know, this, that, and whatever, this, that, and whatever, and feel that it's okay. And even though that opportunity was granted onto me, it didn't feel right. It felt like there would be some type of consequence if I was to address the issue to them. There would be some type of backlash somehow, some way. Well, maybe we need to this, maybe we need to that, you know, Caribbean household. But sometimes it's just better to sit down and listen to your children. It's better to let them allow you in than to have it that your children are out there figuring out that. And the thing about it too is, a lot of times when you have children that are not being educated by their parents in a sexual fashion, like as far as the topic of sex, a lot of the times they are usually the ones to go out and experience sex prior to when they were supposed to. And that could be a scary thing. You know, a lot of the times they're like, well, if I don't bring it up, if I don't talk to them about it, maybe they just will forget about it. No. Or they would think, well, you know, this kid, I don't think they're thinking about sex. They're too immature to be thinking about sex. So the kids play the parents to make them think that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That they don't know what sex is, what this is, what that is. But in fact, they're very interested. And because they're very interested, they feel that they can't talk to you. They're gonna like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go experience it. I'm gonna go figure out what this is. And they will find someone at some point, maybe right then, not right then and there, but they will find someone at some point that will be willing to allow them to experience what sex is. Now, of course, they will have the act, they will know what the act is, but as far as really understanding the dangers, you know, the potential incidents that could occur after, as far as STDs, STIs, possible pregnancy. These things are situations that needs to be expressed to the child or educated to the child, as opposed to that. And then a lot of the times too, you could put yourself into a sexual situation where you're traumatized. You know, a lot of young women are put into sexual situations that they were not even thinking of doing. And it's almost always by a family member, which is the sad, scary part. Whether we're talking boys or we're talking girls, you know, a lot of the times the parent, the loved one, because it's usually a loved one that they feel that they could trust, they're usually the ones to come and try and take advantage of the poor child. So now we're at 38 minutes. We're gonna talk a little bit further. We're gonna see if there's anybody that would like to add to the I'm gonna change this music a little bit. So like I was saying, we're gonna try and see if we could find some people that could address the issue some more. If nobody feels like it, I'll probably go back, play some games, but I really felt like what needed to happen was there needed to be an addressing of the topic. So yeah, it's just one of those things, you know, and it's just like, well, what can I do as a parent? What could I do as a kid? Now, another thing that could be done is you could actually establish this as the kid is younger. Make the kid feel comfortable. Make them feel like there's nothing you can tell me that will make me feel any less of you. Because, you know, there are some times where you have some kids and they're like, Ma, Dad, I don't think I'm in the right skin anymore. I don't think I'm me. I know I'm me, but I'm not me. I'm she. I'm he. Like, it's so many different ways that you could go about it. But as a parent, you need to be able to sit down and accept your children. A lot of the times, all our kids need is for us to sit down and accept them. We need to get some form of respect, mutual respect there needs to be. But as a child, you need to understand you are a child. I am the parent, you are the child at the end of the day. And the only way that you can do that is you instill it from when the child is very small. And then as they grow up, things start to change. They start to change. So you want to give them certain types of, I guess you could say, respect, responsibilities, whatever, but they have to earn them. Right? So, like I said, that's that. I made the topic known. I spoke about it for a little while now. I'm gonna step away for like a good five minutes, and when I come back, hopefully we'll have some people that might be interested in expressing the topic. If not, we'll just go back playing the game a little bit more, and we'll call it a night. So that being the case, I'm going to be right back.